Hello, I'm attorney Michael Della Monaca, and today we're going to try to get to the bottom line. My host today is, my guest today is Dennis Wirth. Dennis is a stand-up comedian. Dennis is a fixture on the local comedy circuit in the Twin Cities area, and really is, I've had the opportunity, I've known Dennis for some time, I've had the opportunity to talk to him on a variety of topics. And the reason I wanted Dennis on today was to discuss his background as a stand-up comedian and some of the things that he's doing, and also some serious notes, some things that he has taken on as causes. So, Dennis, welcome.
Thank you for having me on, Mike.
And the real hot-button issue that really got me to think, I really want Dennis on, and is this issue of fathers' rights. You hear about this issue of fathers' rights, divorced parents or parents who are no longer together, talking about raising the children, custody, joint custody arrangements, visitation arrangements, things like that. And you see, I see signs on the highway overpasses,
and Fathers for Justice. They get out there with the signs trying to spread the word,
and all these other things. And I just, again, part of this show is for me to disclose my own knee-jerk reactions or my own biases, and your idea is to either show me why some of what I'm saying is justified or show why I'm saying is completely wrong.
Okay.
And one of the knee-jerk reactions I have is are these people just whiners? Are they just, look, the idea is that you have these court proceedings, and being an attorney, I have faith in the legal system, and I know that probate court judges have to deliberate, and they have to make rules, and they have to come up with judgments and orders and things like that. And as an attorney, my immediate reaction is, well, okay, they've done what they had to do. Are these fathers just looking for publicity? Are they just looking to whine? Are they just looking to usurp? Are they just looking to...
Well, I mean, the courts can only enforce the laws that they're given to enforce.
Okay.
So what they're given, maybe all the time they don't agree with, but that's the law, that's what they have to enforce. So, when child support started out, it was in the best interest of the children. It was back in the 70s, and we've come a long way since then. It's certainly a different world we live in today than it was in the 1970s. So things have changed, and unfortunately it went from what's in the best interest of the children, and it's gone over to more of a profitable thing for the states. And that's the problem that we have, where you have fathers who love their children more than life itself and want what's in the best interest for their children, and the courts are ripping, one parent out of a child's life rather than another for a financial gain. So are they out there whining? Yeah, they probably are, but whining in today's society, unfortunately, that's the way to draw attention. So they're getting their point across. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, you're thinking about it, and awareness is the key.
One thing you said was interesting, I want to pick up on that, is that because the common reaction I've heard from other fathers' rights advocates or people who have been on TV or been interviewed, oh, it's those judges. Those corrupt judges are siding with the mothers. And you said something a little different. Right. You've said, actually, the judges are working with the hand that they've been dealt.
That's exactly how it works. They can only enforce the law, and unfortunately the laws are, they estimate child support to be between a $5 and $10 billion a year industry, not million, $billion a year industry. That much money's going through. It's easy to not do what's in the children's best interest than what is. They're not going to give up that money. So what they don't know is each state, for every dollar they take in child support, the federal government will give them money for each dollar they take in. So the state's best interest is to keep that high because they're getting more money in. So, and it's the father, normally men make more money in society than women, so they're getting more money from men because they have higher paychecks. And they don't want that money going out, and for every dollar, they get from fathers to spend on children, that's $1 less they have to pay out in, say, welfare or food stamps, because now they get the money from the father instead of the state. So they're getting money from the federal government, and they're not having to spend out as much money, so it's a win-win for the state. Whether it's right or wrong, is another issue.
But just back up just a little bit. So specifically, how is it that, because you started to mention that, well, the father generally in the household, I mean, society being what it is, sometimes they're more of the breadwinner than the mother or whatnot.
Right.
But how does that sort of devolve? How does that result in the father getting the short end of the stick with custody arrangements, with all these other various things, just because of the child support money? Could you just be a little more specific on that?
Yeah, well, it's, from my own personal instance, I can speak. I mean, I love nothing more in life than my son. It's the most precious thing in the world. All I wanted to be was an equal part of his life, and from day one, the courts, they don't want to listen to you. I mean, it's pretty much set up that they go toward the mother as who they protect, and it's less about what's in the best interest of the children than it is, I can't believe that pulling one parent out of a child's life based on their gender, is a good decision rather than another. And for me, I mean, you have to work so many extra hours, and even if you're an every other weekend dad, by the time you get them on the weekend, you're so exhausted. You're walking around sleepwalking, spending time with your children. You don't have the money to take them to places or buy them the things that you'd want to do for your child. And the mom's looking like the hero because she's got all the money. Your son's got to kind of look at you like you're a bum because you can't do it. They don't have the legal aspects of it, so it's a tough situation for fathers.
I see. So sort of the money issue kind of trickles down to the experience that the child has with the parents.
Oh, yeah, sure. And I mean, they send you to dealing with divorce class when you first break up, and the main thing they teach you is don't put the child in the middle. It's between you and her, but sometimes, they don't always stick to that, and you're forced to defend yourself if they do bring something up, and it turns into a bad situation for the child. So you're better off to keep the child out of it, but unfortunately, everybody don't stick to that.
Now, how many children do you have?
I have one child. He's actually 19 now. So,
okay.
But I mean, he's gone to college. He's attending UMass Amherst. So I'm still paying. Thank you. He's got a bright future. Very smart kid ahead of him.
Yeah.
So I'm still paying on him while he attends college. Which, as he got older, when he was about 14, I got joint custody, which we both had to fight hard for that. And even though I got a minute for minute the same time, and it costs just as much to live in my house as hers, I still got to pay her child support, which I'll go to my grave wondering how that works out.
So your specific issue, your specific situation, custody, actual physical custody actually works out pretty even, you find, but it's more the money that's inequitable.
Well, it was till he was 14 years old before I got joint custody. Before that, I had visitation, which I don't think you should make any parent a visitor in their child's life. They should be a parent, and given the, I mean, if you don't want to be a part of your child's life, you should have to pay child support. But if you want to be an equal part of your child's life, you should be given that opportunity by the courts, and you are not.
Yeah. All right. So he's 19. So if you don't mind me asking, how long has this been? You said when he was 14, I finally had joint custody.
Oh, yeah. He was 1 year old when we broke up. So I'm
okay.
18 years of child support payments in.
Wow.
Yeah. And one of the funny stories is I have a cousin who she broke up. She was married to my cousin. I'm really close with her, and she broke up with my cousin, and I still stay in touch because we're close. And she collected child support from him, and we used to have arguments. And he should have to pay me. He should have to pay me. I deserve that money for the kids. And now she's got older, and actually her son, now he's paying child support, and now her tune's changed. It's destroying his life. I can't believe the courts would do this. So, she's got a little bit of awareness on, when it's somebody you don't like, it's easy to take the money, whether it's right or wrong. But, when you see your own child's life being destroyed from it, then your tune changes on the subject of how fair it is.
So yeah, and that's what happens when things hit home. Your tune tends to change.
Yeah. Then it's awareness is the key. You need to be educated on the subject of how it does. Yeah. It destroys the child's life. It destroys the parent's life, and it's just a bad situation for everyone.
Well, it's an education for me because I mean, knock on here. I don't have the experience in sort of paying out child support.
Right.
I never really thought of it. I mean, my practice, in my law practice, we don't do a lot of domestic relations issues. Right. You hear about stories and you hear about things, and we know the technical aspects of how it works. I've never really thought of child support as a money-making proposition, but the way you're describing it, it's almost like a broker arrangement where for the federal government rewards states. It's almost like a state being a collection agency.
Now. Yeah, it went from being, you know, what's in the best interest of the child to big business. I refer to the Mass Pike, you know, they were supposed to collect tolls until it was paid to build it, and then they get rid of the toll booths. Once they had that money coming in, they were never going to give it up. It's big business, you know, and we'll pay tolls on the Mass Pike forever. And you know, hopefully things will change. It needs to change what's in the best interest of the children over what's profitable, and that's what needs to change.
Yeah, and so in terms of what do you see as do you, based on your experience, 18 years of experience in dealing with the system, what are some fixes that are? I mean, look, obviously, hey, from your perspective, it would be great if you just blew up the whole thing and started with the different kind of system. But practically speaking, as you know, things move slowly when it comes to government or when it comes to law, legal things. I know legal things from my perspective in other issues. You know, they've moved slowly. So, practically speaking, what are some things in your view that can be done to help, at least, if not completely eliminate this issue of this problem, to make it a little easier on fathers?
Well, you know, most of the people who look at the child support, they look at it, you know, in an uninformed view of, oh, that's his child, he should have to pay. They don't really get educated on the subject, and once you do, like I said, you have a whole different view on the fairness of it. So I mean, I've taken a look at, you know, causes in this country that have overcome in the past where, I mean, you know, in today's day and age, it's hard to believe that slavery ever existed in this country. Today we have an African-American president. So, you know, that was overcome. I mean, as far as, you know, women's rights, it's hard to believe that at one time women didn't have the right to vote in this country. Today that problem's overcome. So how is the way that they solve these problems? And you know, to start out, well, you know, child support will never be fixed in my lifetime or yours probably. We have to set the groundwork by spreading awareness for future generations to change it. So I mean, the early stages of fixing a problem right now, I think, are spreading awareness, making people aware that there's a problem, and hopefully future generations can build on that and solve the problem.
And you bring up a good point, because issues like, obviously, slavery went on for hundreds of years in this country.
And it's hard to believe that it did today. You know, I mean, years from now, they're going to look back and say it's hard to believe child support existed, you know? So it's...
And some of the women's issues you've talked about lasted a very long time in this country.
It's hard to believe now.
And and this is a problem that, according to your informal timeline there, according to this, that it's really just gotten really bad in the last 20 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, back in the 70s when it was existed, you know, most moms were stay-at-home moms. They didn't work. The father went out, earned the bread. They stayed home and took care of the children. You know, so, okay, it made sense. Hey, the father's got to pay child support, because that's the way it worked back then. Women now are an equal part of the workforce, okay? They're an equal part of society. And, you know, it's going to come to the point they got to take an equal responsibility for the financial well-being of their children. Yeah.
So in your view, you're laying the groundwork now in terms of getting involved, in terms of getting people informed and educated.
Spreading awareness. Awareness is the key right now. And if you guys are on Facebook, look up the Child Support Superhero. It's a comedy routine where I'm a comedian. I use that to incorporate into spreading awareness. I tell some jokes about child support, but while you're laughing at the jokes, you're getting informed too. So click it up and hit the like button.
And that leads, it's a great lead to what I was going to talk about now. Now, being a stand-up comedian, you know, this is an issue that you're obviously in tune with. It's an issue that you know something about from personal experience. Let's talk about what inspired you to become a stand-up comedian?
When I was young, I used to love watching comedy. I mean, I couldn't watch enough, and I always laughed and thought a lot were funny. Then I caught a show with Sam Kinison one time, and I went from laughing to just, I couldn't even catch my breath. I was laughing so hard. Just his brutal honesty was just something to watch. And I thought at that point, I said, this is what I got to do in life. I got to make someone laugh as hard as this guy just made me laugh. Because, you know, laughter, you know, it is the best medicine. Spread it, you know. So I never knew how to get started to be a comedian. It's not like you just put in a job application. I never knew So I kept the idea in my head for years. Then I checked my mail one day and I got a brochure from the local college. It said night courses, and one was Introduction to Stand-Up Comedy. And I went in there, I met my teacher and mentor, Jerry Caruso, and he's helped me more than I could have asked for, and I've been going ever since. It's been a fun ride.
When did you pick up that mail now? When did this sort of journey start?
It was about 4.5, maybe 5 years ago I started. I've been doing it now, so it's been a long and fun ride. It's really spreading awareness through my comedy. It's been a privilege.
Jerry's a special guy, and I know Jerry personally as well, and I know that he's dedicated. He does his instructional class over at Mount Wachusett, and he's done some great things, and he's a funny guy too, and so
Comics for a Cure is his organization. It's benefits for whether it's cancer, autism, but he raises some money, and I work a lot with him on them. But Comics for a Cure, we do some really good stuff raising money for local charities.
So you went into the class, and then what happened?
I expected to take the class, and then that'd be all I'd ever hear from the guy. He got his money, and that was it. But Jerry wasn't there to make money. He was there to help people become comics. So after that, Jerry, he continued to get me in shows, and when I wasn't that good, he allowed me to work out my material until I did get good. He stuck by me. Hit some local open mics, and at one of them, there was a guitarist performing, and he asked me if I'd come do his open mic. So I went up and did his open mic, and the owner of that bar liked it so much, he asked me if I'd do comedy there regular. That's Ken up at the Red Onion. Thank you, Ken, if you're watching. And that was my first room. It got me going, and once I had one room, I had a few more, and I've been going ever since.
That's over in Baldwinville, the Red Onion?
Over in Baldwinville, yeah. So catch a live show. Just support live comedy or music. Support the local scene, please. So now, tell us just about some of the things, projects you have going on right now. Right now we're doing a fundraiser at the PACC coming up on April 6th. If you guys can get over, it is for Team Jasmine. They are doing a fundraiser for suicide awareness prevention. So if you can get over and do that at Destari over in Fitchburg. We're going to be doing a benefit show for the Wounded Warrior Project, raising money for them. And on the local scene, if you're looking for a night out, you can go to Scoreboards in Leominster, JD Chasers up in Hudson, New Hampshire. They've been the biggest supporters in my career. Check out a live show up there. Uncle Eddie's up at Salisbury Beach. Just like I said, just support local comedy. You can check out my website, www.dennisworth.webs.com, and there's a schedule on there, and you can check out where I'm at and come on out and laugh with me.
And you've incorporated into your routine this issue of fathers' rights, or talking about it.
In class, they told you, make comedy about, your real life situations. And hey, I know about paying child support, so that was my real life. So I incorporated it in. I came up with the superhero, the child support superhero, where he's different than Superman, as Superman's got it made, and child support superhero's got a little bit rough. So I get people laughing, and I do comparisons to how I'd be different than Superman. But while I got them laughing, they're also being informed on the subject. So it's a good way to make people laugh, do what I love to do, and spread awareness about the problem.
And if you do go on your Facebook page, there's pictures of you, dressed up. You found one of the few phone booths left in the
one of the few left in the Leominster
area.
We found one of me coming out with. That was one of the jokes. Superman has a big red S on his chest, and I got a green dollar sign. So you see me coming out of the booth with the green dollar sign, but it's catchy.
But you keep it lighthearted too.
I try to.
Not
you
a
don't
big
want to
rant.
offend people. I'm not here to offend anyone. I'm here to spread awareness. So I try to do it in a fun-loving way that you'll remember.
Yeah. I mean, can you give an example of one of the? I hate to put you on the spot because that's a question. Obviously, tell me. Oh, you're a comedian. Tell me a joke. But obviously, a G to PG rated line you would use to incorporate some of your issues. Just an example.
Well, I got one where I spread awareness by say, when I was with my ex, we were sitting down watching TV one day, and I saw a stat. It was in 19 whatever women were allowed to vote, and I just mumbled under my breath, "Wow, they let them vote." And she was all offended. She said, "Why wouldn't they let them vote? They're an equal part of the workforce. They're, an equal part of society. We make the same money. We should be treated equally." And I'm like, "Okay, you're right. Calm down. Women are equal. You're right." And a number of years later, I got a divorce for her, and in court, I raised the question to the judge: if we equally chose to have this child, Okay, why is it now that I have to pay 100% of his upbringing and she has to pay 0? And the same woman who preached to me about awareness, you know, equality, said, oh, because you're the man, you should have to pay. Oh, well, I'm the man now. You know, she wanted to be equal when it benefited her, but you know, now that that's how the tune changes, you know, they don't think that way.
Well, self-interest sometimes can be
overpower what's right to do in life.
Well, I just wanted to wrap up. You had indicated that you had something that you had some remarks that you wanted to deliver here.
I did. Before Facebook became the big thing, and I mean I'm on Facebook now, but MySpace was the big thing, which I don't think it's a big ghost town over there. But when I was setting up my MySpace page, the thing, you know, you tell a little bit about yourself, then it'd say who you'd like to meet. So I figured I'd incorporate into it, you know, a saying of who I'd like to meet, and I tried to push people's buttons, because if you push their buttons, they're going to remember it, where if you don't, they won't. And it was funny, you know, a lot of people, I try to friend people in the area I don't know for comedy if they're interested, so they'll check out my page, and I got a lot of support from the quote of who I'd like to meet, and I got a few angry moms who said, you know, you shouldn't type stuff like this. And I thought about taking it off, and I said, you know what, whether you love it or whether you hate it, you're thinking about it, and awareness is the key. So I got it on my phone here. I will definitely read it for you. This is what I wrote that pushed a few people's buttons. I said, who you'd like to meet? I wrote, I'd like to meet the Satan-infected soul who invented the child support system. Most fathers do not just walk away from their children, they are driven away by a court system. I'd like to meet the person who in court took away my parental rights based solely on my gender. The person who granted me visitation and told me I can no longer be a father to my son, that now I must be a visitor in his life. I'd like to meet the person who took most of my money each week and gave it to a mother, so my own son must look at his father like he is a bum because he never has the money to take him anywhere or buy him anything. I'd like to meet each and every mother who takes this money and look them in the eye, because in America, it's easier to destroy the life of a person you don't like than it is to work for a living. A good father is not a child support payment. It's being an equal part of your child's life. These are the people I'd like to meet. May God have mercy on your souls, because Satan surely will not. So it's a little hardcore, but like I said, I tried to push people's buttons with it, so that's kind of spreading the awareness, hopefully.
I think that's the key, is to have a good mixture of whether it be laughs or whether it be a serious topic, so that you can really start to get people informed on this very serious issue.
I do the comedy thing, and that makes people laugh and spread awareness, and you've been nice enough to let me on your show on a serious note and try to spread awareness, so hopefully the viewers will get something out of what I said here today.
Well, and look Dennis up on Facebook, on WIRTH, and
check out my
Wirth,
website, right?
And your website, and you know, if you probably the easiest way is to go on Facebook, and you have links to all these various things. And he is around, like he mentioned, scoreboards, the Red Onion, and personally, I've been able to witness his stand-up routines personally. Very funny guy, and very well-meaning guy. Whether you agree with his issues or not, it is something that really he really makes you think. And so, Dennis, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much for having me on, Mike.
And so, on this show, the other thing that we do is we sort of sprinkle in what I do for a living, which is I'm an attorney, and as I mentioned last time, we've set up an email address for which viewers of the show can send in a legal question that you'd like me to answer. Obviously, if I answer a question, it's going to be just for general informational purposes only. I may not know you personally, and it should not be implied as an attorney-client relationship, but just for some general information. And one of the questions that came in was very interesting, and I'd like to answer that one. What is the single most important estate planning document? In other words, because I am an estate planning attorney, that's what we concentrate in at my office. In terms of buckling up your affairs, what's the most important document? And the common answer would be, well, a will. Because obviously, when you think of estate planning, you think of, okay, a will. That's what you see on TV about reading of the wills and that sort of thing. In my view, especially in a traditional family setup, a will sometimes is not the central document that is going to be the most important one. In many cases, not all, but in many cases, if you decease without a will, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, if you want specific people to get your specific things, a will is crucial. But if you're of the view, well, I just want my stuff to go to the kids, maybe a will is not, while helpful and recommended highly, may not be actually the most important document. No, the most important document, in my view, is something called a durable power of attorney. That should be something that's attorney prepared, an attorney consult, sit down with you. And what a durable power of attorney is, if you become incapacitated, who can manage your affairs for you? Incapacity can be worse than death, because not to be too morbid here, when you die, you die. But if you become incapacitated, those probate proceedings, those court proceedings could get really messy and could last years and years and years versus 6 months to a year when somebody deceases. By having a very simple and a relatively inexpensive document called a durable power of attorney, you can really make it easier on your loved ones in order to help you manage your affairs in the event of incapacity. To me, that is, in many cases, the most crucial document in an estate plan. We're certainly available through our office to answer questions about those if you wanted to come in for a consult, and we can talk about those documents further. But until next time, this has been Michael Della Monaca, and I hope we got to the bottom line when it came to today's issue. Thanks for watching.